Well, believe it or not, I'm the boss. In my job as a contractor, I get the contracts from people, and I'm the one that they deal with, which is kind of nice. That I get to have a say in how things go and what happens, and uh, the whole process. And I have a certain accountability and responsibility, but it's generally to me. Now, in order to get things done and expedite things, I hire guys. Now, when I hire guys, the thing is, they are doing basically the same work I am. But there's something very, very different about the guys I hire and me. I'm the one that is responsible and accountable to the client. They aren't. They're responsible to me. So I've got more of a vested interest because I'm getting paid by the job. If the job doesn't get done, then I don't get paid. They're getting paid by the hour. All they have to do is be there. And as long as they're there and they're working, they have to get paid. So they don't have the same vested interest. Actually, being paid by the hour, sometimes their vested interest is to take longer, which isn't a good thing. And it gets a little frustrating when you come back to the job site and all the guys are standing around because they didn't see it coming. And it's like, oh, get back to work. Well, some of those guys don't end up working me for very long, and other guys shape up, and that's kind of how the process works. I remember when I was in high school, went to KV for a while, and there was a principal. His name was Mr. Bishop. Now, Mr. Bishop at one point was also the mayor of Rothesay. Mr. Bishop was quite an accomplished man in his life. And when he was the principal in high school, one of the things that he used to do is walk the halls. And when he walked the halls, he had a yardstick, and you'd hear step, step, click, step, step, click, step, step, click. And that was Mr. Bishop coming. Now, I think he did that so he would give us fair warning to get our stuff together and stop being little punks. And I think part of the process is he didn't really want to deal with it, so he knew if he gave us fair warning, he wouldn't see what we were doing. He wouldn't have to deal with it. I don't know. But the truth, when he was coming down the hall, everybody got in line. Paul was talking to the Galatians, and he said, be zealous, but not only when I'm with you. See, Paul was talking about each believer has an accountability to have a fervor and a desire to serve God and to have a relationship with God. And it's really easy when we are in the fellowship of the saints or in the presence of a pastor or a leader in the church, to really get in line, not to be somebody else, but to be reminded of the person that you want to be. And then you strive to be that. And then when that person's not there, we have a tendency to let our guard down and get out of line a little bit and forget our passion and forget that calling and our responsibility because the accountability isn't there, because those people aren't present. That's why the scripture says, forsake not the gathering yourselves together. Don't give up gathering together. Why? Because we need to be reminded on a regular basis that there's a life that we're called to. There's an accountability. There's a responsibility. And when we're with other Christians, we're reminded that this is a life that we're called to. But we're also to be disciplined. And we're also to live that life when others aren't around. But it's a whole lot easier if we constantly remind ourselves. So that's why we get together. And that's why we hold each other accountable. And that's why we maintain relationships. And that's why we maintain rapport and intimacy in each other's lives, so that when things are starting to go sideways, we're there to encourage one another. So whether I'm there or not, whether the pastor's in your presence, whether you're in the presence of deacons or elders or other Christians, maintain the zeal for Christ. But in order to do that, it's a good idea to keep getting into the company of believers, to be encouraged. And I hope this has been an encouragement to you. God bless you. Bye for now.